Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Messages. I'm Candace Smith, and I can never tell when the video has started. This never changes. Hope everyone had a great week, and maybe you remembered something you did this week. So, congratulations, because I don't. Like, not at all. I remember good weather, and I think I planted a plant, and that was pretty much it. So I don't know if your week was nearly as exciting as mine. I don't want to brag too much. For today's message, oh man, who knows? It. I'm trying to think about how to phrase it, but basically, what came to me this morning was when I was turning off my alarm. Because we do turn off the alarms and then we press snooze, and I say we because I feel like it's universal. Like, I don't even know if I don't want to know like what kind of people are getting up when their alarm goes off, because that's just a foreign concept to me. Like, it's not something that I'm used to on any level, and I will always take 2 minutes of sleep over none, and I will do it 5 times in 2 minute increments. So like a broken 10 minutes versus just like getting 10 minutes of sleep. So yeah, today I was thinking about like turning off the alarm or turning off the alarms, something about that. So it's like, what happens when we have an alarm? So you think about the one on your phone where it's like telling, it's basically something that is calling you to action, right? So you've got the one on your phone, you have like fire alarms, you've got, anything like at school or any sort of place that you are where an alarm goes off. And the fact that the word is like alarming, I don't know if they came up with alarms because they're alarming or alarms are alarming. Something to do with your week is research that topic, because hours of fun are sure to follow. Um, so it's like, what do you do when you have like internal alarms? Um, I can't think of any more examples at this moment. I like a timer, an alarm for like cooking, to let you know that your food is burned. If you're anywhere near my house. um, it's like, what do you do when you hear an alarm or you have an alarm or something happens? So what I was thinking about was that you basically have two things that follow. How you feel and how you act. And so this, I think, can determine a lot of our experiences in life, because things could turn from like unexpected to alarming. And I definitely feel like those are subjective. So, what's alarming to one person with, sort of a stress or massive action may not happen with the same person. So it's kind of curious as to, why that might be. And, it just depends on, again, like we talked about last week, but like, what are your values? What's important to you? Because if something happens to you and it doesn't fall within those values, then, what's important to you, then it may not be as alarming as something else. So, what I think is important to think about is, when something happens to you that is alarming, it has an alarm associated with it, kind of that internal alarm, is how you feel. So, when we think about things that are unexpected, that are alarming to us, we kind of get that, like, the tense shoulders, the clenched jaw, the shortness of breath. And what happens when we experience those things is that, with those physical reactions, it gives us a limited perception to then act on those. So when you are short of breath, when you have your tight shoulders, clenched jaw, or clenched fists, then you're not in a place to communicate as well as you normally would. you're not going to be able to make decisions that maybe are the best, or that you've looked at, been able to sort of assess all your options. And so when we go into something with that state, then it tends to exacerbate the problem, make it worse, or make it, a different decision, because what's happened is you're making a decision from a place that may not yield you your best outcome. So, um, when you start to build those habits, you start to, I think of the word, it's like reiterate, reinforce. That's the word. I cannot believe I thought of that while I was here. Usually it's like afterwards, reinforce. But you start to reinforce those habits. So, first of all, when you have the alarm, like, that's how you feel. Then, when you start to have those habits of being tense, narrow scope, shortness of breath, making decisions that maybe don't take all of the information into account, then what happens when you act on those is that the outcomes aren't what you would hope. And especially being in those scenarios, you really want something good to come from that after something is, happened unexpectedly. So the idea is to, I don't know if you can, like, yes, somehow you can turn off the alarm, but not the incident itself, but like turn off what's alarming about it. So how are you able to breathe through it? How are you able to trust what the outcome is? How are you able to understand that whatever's in front of you is the most important thing? And I was thinking about, like, an alarm as a call to action, right? So we talked about, like, okay, you're waking up, or it's a fire drill, or it's, something is overcooked in your oven. So every time that there is an alarm, it is calling you to action. Like, no one just, and usually those fire alarms, or what are they called? Smoke alarms, happen at 4 a.m. when you're asleep. And you can't find it, like, in the house. Then you don't know why you don't have a tall ladder or those tiny batteries that go with it. So that's one that we can all probably recognize and not change in our lives. But if someone knows the secret to that, why can't the smoke alarm go off, or like the detector when it has those low batteries? Like, why can't you just go off at like 12? Oh yes. So anyway, but they are a call to action. So you're not just sitting there like, wow, this is alarming, and this is just what I do. I'm gonna, like, finish this bag of chips real quick. They're calling us to action. So we have a choice to decide how we're going to feel and how we're going to act. So I think being able to try to step back from that and first think about the physical aspects that you're exhibiting while these are happening. So it's almost like if you could, something happens and you step outside of yourself and become the observer, or like, you're on a TV show and it's just filming, and it's like, what would this character do? Because when you, or if you had the opportunity to, like, go back and see the replay, it might, I think, at least for me, like, in some cases it would make me cringe. I'd be like, oh my gosh, this person is, like, so stressed out, and they missed out on this information, and this decision led them here, which further, kind of exacerbates things. And you see it so clearly when you're outside of it, but when you're inside of it, it's just this all-consuming bubble that really doesn't allow us to, first of all, feel the way we want to feel, or get the outcome that we want to get, or have the experience overall that we really would like to experience. So I think being aware of those physical attributes, like when there is an alarm that goes off, I know for me, the one that goes off in the morning is just like, oh my gosh, which, it's like, it's calling you to action. So it's saying, like, get out of bed. And first of all, I really don't like being told what to do. So it's kind of like, I'll get out of bed when I'm ready. But you are onto something, because I do have somewhere to be. So we want to try to change those physical attributes that are showing up when we have those feelings. So slowness of breath, unclenched fist, proactively, or whatever that word is, consciously. The vocabulary is just flowing at 7. consciously try to, sort of alleviate what would further stress you out. If you can, it's like, and recognize it, really. I think that's also a key, is recognizing where those alarms are. I probably should have started there. I'm assuming you kind of do, but that's a big assumption because sometimes I don't even see what they are until later. So recognize, the alarm. Trying to change those physical attributes that occur when you are feeling that way because it's calling you to action. And I think it's an important action, right? If it's an alarm, it's something important. And then being able to change your experience or your feelings with that, because once you're in a relaxed state, you tend to be able to think of more options. Think of, and then think of circumstances or like experiences that in the past were like, it's worked out, it's fine. Like, did getting stressed out, physically, emotionally, did those work out for you? And when you start to be able to trust the way that things work out when you approach them from a relaxed state, then you start to become more able to embody that habit that allows you to change the experience when you do have the alarms. So something really exciting that I thought about today. I don't know what else I really have to say about that. I know everybody's excited, like we can move on and finish our breakfast. But it was just something that struck me because we do have those times where we don't realize how it's making us feel, how it's impacting us, and how it changes our experience when we have those things, because it's always going to be something that's calling us to action. And usually it's something that's trying to, maybe not for literal alarms, but like the emotional ones are the ones that we experience in, relationships, that we really are being asked to learn something from it. So if we can approach them from a place of, being better in a physical place, stepping outside of ourselves and understanding what it really means, and then taking away the lesson that we can use going forward to see that things kind of, they always work out. In hindsight, you can tell that it was something that really benefited you or had a lesson. And once you start learning those lessons, then you typically would start having those experiences less often because you've moved past something that's stressing you out. So it either happens less often or you just don't see it as much because you come to a better place with those experiences. So hopefully this helps. I hope you have a wonderful week, and don't work this week, work your week. And I will talk to you guys next week. Have a great day.